WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, alive and mostly well after a long, grueling weekend last weekend, and we will be getting into that over the course of the next hour or so. We'll also have room for your phone calls and Facebook feedback, a lot to get into. You can certainly do so on the lines at 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. Conspicuous by his absence is none other than Lucas the Intern. Yes, he did survive the camp as well, but he did have a unremembered by him until very recently family engagement that he had to make an attendance to, so he won't be here with us, which is a shame because there's a lot to talk about from the, I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll have to start with the Monster Factory camp. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit because I went over all this past Monday on Completely Damaged Radio, and well, needless to say, it won't get as in-depth as here as it was there, and I'll leave it at that. If you really, and this isn't like a ratings grab or anything, but if you want to find out more about what I'm talking about, you can go ahead and listen to that completely-damaged.podomatic.com. Throw RC a little bit of love because it certainly wouldn't hurt. He's a longtime friend of the show, as he has been. Anyway, last Friday, where to start? I guess starting at the beginning would make perfect sense. Getting some advice from the different trainers just about the wrestling, I guess, culture, atmosphere, as well as just kind of life lessons, things about character, punctuality, respecting the business, just little things like that. There were a lot of lessons learned in that. Then we went and did some drills, which was one of the things I was kind of worried about. And if any of you out there have any, I know I said this last week, but I think now, having gone through it, I think I can stress a little bit more. Your cardio needs to be beyond top notch to do anything in professional wrestling. I mean, I had really no aspirations of being a wrestler. I was kind of more there as a learning experience. Believe me, if you've ever seen my physique, not only do I have a face for radio, but I definitely don't have an in-ring body, to say the least, or an in-anywhere body. But I still pushed myself through it. And to give you an idea, we did just simply an 8-minute warm-up, and I was already blown up about 2 minutes into that 8-minute warm-up. So, it's you definitely need to be fit in every aspect, but especially cardiovascularly, to make it in professional wrestling, or at least to have some semblance of success, because that's one of the biggest things, regardless of your, you could be a gym rat, but if you get blown up in less than a minute, it's not exactly going to go well for you. With certain exceptions, I would imagine. Anyway, after the warm-up, just to kind of get a little bit of an idea, we then went to working on and learning a little bit more and practicing cutting promos, because that was probably one of the bigger lessons that was brought out throughout the course of the weekend. And if you've watched any episode of Monday Night Raw, you can definitely tell this to be true. Promos are probably about 70% of what professional wrestling is, and the in-ring action's the other 30%. by comparison. I mean, that's where your bread and butter is being on the microphone, and then that's why you have these short matches on Raw. I mean, how many matches were there this past week, and how many of them went less than 10 minutes, we'll say. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of the 7 matches on Raw for a 3-hour televised event, 3 of them went longer than 10 minutes, and one of those was just over 10 minutes and 40 seconds. But the others, 4 minutes and 10 seconds, 2:15, 2:30, or 2:50 rather. Oh, that's right. That was the Rubber Spiders match. I'll get into that in a little bit. The R-Truth nonsense. But just to give you an idea, the in-ring is almost ancillary to what goes on the microphone. So that's where a lot of the emphasis is placed. Things went considerably. That's another thing to learn about wrestling. Things that are set to end at a certain time, unless it's a televised thing, they do not end at the time they're supposed to. And it's highly advised that you stick through to the end of whatever that is. So our first night, we were supposed to be there. We got there at 6 and got started. The schedule said it was supposed to run till 11. We didn't finish until 2:30 in the morning, something like that, and then had to turn around and be right back up at 9 o'clock. I think I actually got probably about a little bit more sleep than I usually do, just because I'm used to not sleeping Friday nights into Saturday mornings because of my job obligations and whatnot, both here and elsewhere. So I guess that was a blessing, but the shoulder that I had mentioned last week, it was definitely hurting. No question about that. It still is, in fact. Yeah, thanks for your concerns out there. Saturday, we got up. We did a little bit more warm-up, stretching, things like that, and that was our actual tryout, where we got to basically see if we had the physical capabilities to be able to, I guess, do some of the most basic things, and that would I guess see whether we'd qualify to possibly be students at the Monster Factory. And that involved just a basic back bump, doing a handstand into a back bump, which that was what I was most concerned about, again, because of the shoulder. Doing a somersault flip into a back bump, which I guess simulates being hip tossed, and the running of the ropes. And, well, there was a funny story that came out of that, actually, because due to some more personal issues that, again, completely damaged, I covered a lot more than I'm going to here, but just some personal family issues that I found out about right before the tryouts just had my head a complete mess. And then the shoulder on top of it certainly didn't help matters either. But I was, even though I've done various things like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I've done various things such as jumping on trampolines and doing flips and things like that. I even took a gymnastics course in high school, or not in high school, in college. But I was absolutely petrified of the flip, and needed a little bit of assistance. And yeah, well, I know there are a couple of you hanging on the lines. We'll go ahead and get to you on the other side of a timeout that's coming up in a couple of minutes here, because there's no Lucas and nobody else here. I'm a one-man show. I'm all by myself, as Eric Carmen once sang, and I'm not going to replicate it because that would be terrible. But so. Yeah, I somehow endured the handstand portion of the back bumps, and then I'm getting ready to do the flip, and I'm worried I'm going to break my neck or something like that. Among the trainers that are there, Danny Cage, obviously, the Blue Meanie is there. Wild Bill Wiles, who used to be in ECW, Ring of Honor's QT Marshall. He was the one doing a lot of the in-ring kind of assistance and whatnot. So he goes to hip toss me, and even just the basic motion, I don't know. I'm in my own head, and he simply asks me, "Hey, what's the worst that can happen?" And I just stare blankly and I say, "Death." And that got a laugh out of everybody who was... this was all on display. So all of the current students, all of the prospective students, all of the trainers, probably about 60 of us all told. They all got a laugh out of that. And QT kind of reacted, I guess, to prove a point. He said, all right, well, if you're worried about that, how about this? Or something to that effect. So then he goes from the hip toss position, puts my arm over his neck and proceeds to lift me up for a vertical suplex. And I land on the mat and took it perfectly, and that, I guess, got a pop out of the crowd because I was the only person to be suplexed. So at least for that brief moment, I had a high rise in Suplex City or something like that. That joke went over better in warm-ups. Oh, goodness. Anyway, we'll take care of some business. We'll come back here. We'll get to your phone calls and reactions and whatnot. I haven't even gotten the chance to talk about how Lucas did. I just had to get that story out of the way. Plus some news and notes. Still a lot to do. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
Welcome back to the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, alone with all my friends here in the studio. But that's okay, because sometimes when you're floundering like this, you reach out for help, and sometimes that help shows up, and that help would be none other than on the phone lines, Lucas the Intern.
No. It's via satellite, Fearon.
Via satellite? Live via satellite?
Live via satellite. That's what it is.
See, I didn't realize that we had a... okay, never mind. All right, so...
I just decided we had one.
Yeah, there we go. Nice to know that you're providing the budget here. Oh, goodness. All right, so right before the break, I was telling the Suplex City story. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely unexpected, and it, I guess, put my nerves at ease. But, I mean, given everything that I was dealing with at the time, I mean, you know the whole story, so you can understand why I was nervous.
Yeah, I can definitely understand. It was, especially with your shoulder and everything, it just, I would have been the same way.
Yeah, well, that and the personal issues that we're not going to bring. Yeah, I didn't have the chance to coach you about that ahead of time. So hey, live radio. I'm going to coach you about that now.
You don't need to. I'm not going to bring it up unless you bring it up first. I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, just personal family issues.
It's not my place to bring it up.
Yeah, there we go. But so I have to give it to you. First of all, Lucas, you were of the. I mean, how many prospective students were there? How many of us? Maybe about 30 or so.
Yeah, I would say 30.
Okay, out of the 30 of us, you were the youngest.
Yes,
in attendance.
Yeah, I knew I had a lot to prove, but I didn't expect. I really didn't expect the reaction that I had gotten with some of the stuff that I had done.
Yeah, no, you killed it. I've been beaming all week at how proud I am of you, and I guess we can let this cat out of the bag. I mean, you passed your tryout, and starting, I think you said in July?
The first Wednesday in July.
The first Wednesday in July, you will be a student at the Monster Factory. You'll be training to become a professional wrestler.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. You had to throw that in there.
You can't see because I'm via satellite, but I'm yes-chanting over the phone, and my mother is shaking her head.
Yes!
There you go. Yeah, had to squeeze it in there. Had to find the drop first. So that, unfortunately, though, means that you'll be leaving us here soon.
Possibly. I mean, I would think, yes. You never know. Maybe Mr. Cage will let me do a couple more shows and then just to give me a proper send-off. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to have sort of a proper send-off. I mean, I love my time here at Pro Wrestling Weekly, and unfortunately, within the past couple of weeks, I haven't been able to make the shows, and I really just, because of unfortunate circumstances or just a busy schedule, then that's not the send-off I want. I want to have a good, at least, I want to have a couple more really good shows.
Well, I was going to say, given my track record, those would be the first couple really good shows.
No, you've had some really good shows. I mean, I don't know.
You know what? Actually, here we go. I've got the perfect send-off for you. No? Not so much?
No, I liked it. I'm hoping not to get that government call just yet.
I was going to say, I think at this rate, I'll be getting it before you will.
Oh, that's bollocks, and you know it.
I don't know. All right, so what I was going to say, I went over a little bit of the chronology. I got up to the tryout and help refresh my memory because my head was a mess at that point. So we did the tryouts, and then we started prepping for the card that night, right?
Did you go over Friday? Did you go over?
I did briefly. I mean, I mentioned how I got blown up in about 2 minutes doing the warm-ups. I didn't mention that. Yeah, I did mention two of the. I mean, it was like a rotation station drill kind of thing, which included everything from box jumps to planks to Russian twists to ladder jumps to kettlebell swings, crossover push-ups. I mean, those were the two that just obliterated me: the crossover push-ups and the kettlebell swings, because that's something you want to do with a freaking separated shoulder.
The push-ups were what killed me. I can't do push-ups to save my life. I mean, I can, but I can't do a lot of them. Like when I remember Spano saying on Saturday, like he used to be able to do like 500 or a couple hundred push-ups without breaking a sweat. I envied him because I can only get up to about 20 before I'm about to collapse, pretty much. I need to work on that. My upper body strength, needs a lot of work.
Well, you also have time to develop, so that's
true.
That's an advantage. The fact that you're starting as early as you are, so that's. I mean, it's. Yeah. You picked a great time.
It's a pain in the neck in gym class when all the kids can do pull-ups on the pull-up bar, and I just have to try my best.
Well, look at it this way: when in 4 years, when you're looking like Clutch Adams, the current Monster Factory heavyweight champion, then meanwhile they've probably lost the ability to do pull-ups because they've pounded back so many beers by that point that they can't lift up their gut.
I cut my promos that we did on Clutch, which was a lot of fun. It was I liked the promos. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the Monster Factory training camp. But just the whole experience in general. I mean, hearing the road stories and stuff like that, and getting to see how a show gets put together. It was
order, things like that.
Oh yeah, it was a very surreal experience, and it made me want to do this even more. I'm really excited for July.
Well, I don't think I got the chance to talk with you off the air about this, but I mean, I felt the same way, but it's been bittersweet in that due to my full-time, I guess, shoot job obligations. I mean, I did talk with Monster Factory owner Danny Cage after the seminar was over, and I mean, he did express interest in training me, but it's not feasible due to my work commitments, and that is, I don't know. While I understand the reality, it's a bit of a it's like I got a Ric Flair forearm between the legs.
I gotta say, Fearon, you keep saying how proud you are of me. You don't understand how proud I am of you because you didn't have to do this camp, and the fact that you stuck it out through all the troubles that you were going through, and the fact that you had a fun time at the end, it makes me smile because, you know, if you can't get trained, that's fine, but at least you took a chance, you took a swing at it, and you did. I think you did pretty good, pretty amazing at it. So, you know, you should be proud of yourself.
See, I don't know. I was like Steve Urkel in a football locker room. That's what I kind of felt like with the motley crew of individuals out there.
Well,
I was waiting. I was waiting for something to go wrong just so I could go, did I do that?
Get out, Steve.
Gosh, my youth. The hell did it go?
No, I love Family Matters. I watched it Nick at Night all the time. Oh, God, does that make you feel old, Fearon?
Yes, very.
That's not my problem, okay? I tried.
That is not fair.
Exactly, younger me with a lot less bass to his voice. You know, it's not fair. I tried to. You know, with you and Brett, it's like you throw one up and he knocks him down. But unfortunately for me, I throw one up and you just start crying. That's. I make you feel old, and that makes you feel terrible about myself. What?
I said that's been a theme of the week.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
that's usually my job is to cry. Okay, so stop it. That's you're switching roles. This is not good. It's like a Freaky Friday for radio.
You're gonna get me in trouble, and I didn't even do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, let's talk.
All right, so you mentioned promos. How about the experience with Kevin Kelly on the Sunday?
That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Ring of Honor announcer, spent 7 years working for WWF at the time, and was there for the transition, and brutal Bob Evans also. I mean, with some ring psychology, which I don't know how much. I mean, did you get a lot? I got a lot out of that. I was probably the only person there taking diligent notes in my notebook. I guess because I knew I wasn't going to get in the ring, so I figured, all right, let me at least be studious.
Yeah, I took a lot of notes too. The thing was, on Friday when they sat us down for the 2 hour, like that 2 hour long talk, and I saw you writing notes. I'm like, oh crap, you're right. I have to take notes because I was just in awe of the conversation that we were having and the stuff we were talking about, and I forgot that there was a notebook right below me. So once I started seeing you write, I grabbed my notebook and started writing stuff down. It was
and that's good because you were able to kind of remember after the surrealism of the weekend and go back and go, oh yeah, that's what I took about these notes.
Yeah.
Because there was so much going on. I know there were a couple times you were looking over like, what is he writing down now? I guess it's just all those years of journalism classes and whatnot that I'm used to taking diligent notes.
Well, yeah, that's good. You're putting your craft to use.
Well, plus I was there to learn. Like I said, I mean, I
was there to learn as well.
I didn't go there with the intent of becoming a professional wrestler. Although, as I said, now that I've had a taste and know how good it tastes, I want more. But the fact that I can't have it is very disheartening.
Yeah. I feel you there, and hey, maybe in the future, maybe you'll be able to train as a ref for future. I mean, it's just the current situation you're in right now. You never know.
Well, I don't know. It's been sending a lot of things topsy-turvy, which was the point I was getting to earlier. Is and I kind of want to throw this out to the listeners. With you heading out of the show, I mean, after almost 2 years now. And me doing this for a little over 6 years, and then this show being on for 16 and change, I'm kind of at I don't know. I'm at a multi-directional highway, and I'm not really sure what direction to take the show. And that's kind of where I want to get the feedback from the listeners out there. What if let's say you were booking this show, for lack of a better term, what would you like to hear? I mean, would you like to hear more interviews? Would you like to hear more content from WWE? Would you like to hear more TNA? Would you like to hear more indie stuff? Would you like to hear a different host?
I'd just like to throw this out there, Fearon. Just because I'm training at the factory doesn't mean I can't, not do it every week, but maybe if I get an okay from Danny Cage, I don't know. It's stuff I have to talk to him about, but hey, maybe I'll be able to come on occasionally, as like a special episode. A very special episode of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Lucas the Intern returns home. Like that would be
You borrowed that from Porter this past Monday, by the way.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, a very special episode.
Oh,
was completely damaged. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you subliminally borrowed it or subconsciously, but I thought that's what you were immediately going to, and I was going to call you out for being cheeky on it, but go ahead.
I would personally like to see the show, I'd like to see it have
in
more
different
interviews.
hands?
And not even,
oh.
No, I would like to see it have more interviews, and not even, have guests on the show. You don't always have to go swing for the fences and get a WWE Hall of Famer on the show. You could always just, have Stefan back on the show. Have somebody just have a guest on for the full hour. It would, that's something I'd like to see. Not even after I leave. I'd like to see it happen soon. Just because I'm going doesn't mean the show can't live on. I'd like to see more guests. TNA doesn't seem like I don't know. TNA doesn't seem like it's falling through the cracks as bad as it was last year around this time.
Yeah, I mean it's doing its thing on Destination America.
Like it's gradually, shakily pulling its weight along, but it's not, declining. So they must be doing something right. I mean, it's still TNA, so there's going to be cringeworthy moments.
Well, actually, I was going to say, here's a tidbit I don't know if you knew about. Did you know that they're going to be returning to live pay-per-view?
Really? Really,
indeed. Impact Wrestling announcing that Slammiversary will be a live pay-per-view Sunday, June 28th. That's going to be at Universal Studios in Orlando.
That's nice to hear.
Which the last, as opposed to their one-night-only specials that they've been doing, the last Impact Wrestling pay-per-view prior to this was Bound for Glory, which aired on delay from Japan back in October. And their last live pay-per-view was Slammiversary in 2014 that aired June 15th. So it'll be a little over a year. If I can do the math quickly, I would say that it'd be 378 days from the last time that they had a live pay-per-view.
I mean, you better late than never,
Oh, why not? It was a long gap between WrestleMania 2 and 3.
Yeah. I gotta say, I feel like I remember the results of Slammiversary in 2014 was, because I think I was still sort of watching at that point. It was when Aces and Aces.
You weren't quite dunzos?
Wasn't quite dunzos. It was Bully Ray beating Sting, retaining the title against Sting, and Sting could no longer fight for the NXT Heavyweight title anymore. And that was, I think that's when the last time I watched was Bully Ray was champion. Aces and Eights had grown larger, and I think I hated that storyline, and that's sort of what drew me away was, especially in the beginning with Aces and Eights, and every time they'd say, "Oh, we're going to fight Aces and Eights," and you could predict the end of every single episode. Was you'd have somebody's music hit that was like the tag partner with Bully Ray, and they'd end up getting the crap kicked out of them by Aces and Eights, so there was no main event. It was just so repetitive and so annoying.
Well, that was... I was going to say, that was a good go, but actually, Bully Ray fought and lost to Ethan Carter III in a Texas death match on that pay-per-view. Your World Heavyweight title match was Eric Young defending against Lashley and Austin Aries in a three-way steel cage match.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that was 2 years ago was Aces and Eights.
That's a possibility.
I remember there being a Slammiversary, and it was, I think, 2 years ago. I don't know. Maybe the listeners can shed light on this.
I was gonna say I remember some things. I don't know if I'm
gonna try and make a point of watching TNA again. I'll try. I will try.
That is a bit. I was gonna say. Actually, that is good. That is good memory. Although, yeah, a year. I know it's amazing how the years go by. But yes, Bully Ray and Sting was Slammiversary 2 years ago. So right event, just a year off.
Yeah. It's I used to actually like TNA. Believe it or not, when I started watching, it was when Austin Aries was the X Division champion, and they did that whole deal with Hogan where you could sort of cash in the X Division title for a world title match at any time.
Oh, yes. The first time they did that.
It was when Bobby Roode was the longest reigning TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Gosh, it feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
It was 2011, I'm pretty sure.
I know, that feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
2011, I think Richie Bleiweiss was still on the show at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gives you an idea how far back that was. Back when Philadelphia still had a lacrosse team. Oh, yeah, I went there. Shame on me.
Yeah, shame on you, Fearon. Did that nice little drop right there.
Yeah, that one was courtesy of Mike's. Well, it was my voice, but it was courtesy of Mike Samsel. Because he loves him some drops, and B, he thought that was hysterical, so he borrowed it from my audio folder. I don't know. I mean, plus it fits right in with his mantra.
When we're good, we're pretty okay, but when we're bad, we're great.
Pretty accurate?
I forget what that was from.
I think that was him talking about he and Sean Lerman doing the Trenton Freedom Games. Ah,
Lerman.
Yeah, he will not. I don't think he will be a guest on this program.
I'm going to miss all of this. I'm going to try and make time to visit, but seriously, I'm going to miss all of this. It'll be sad when I leave.
It's two of us.
Yeah.
So, all right, I had to. I was going to say there are a couple of little tidbits. I'm going to hop. I know you have something you got to get to shortly, so I don't want to keep you from that necessarily. But there were a couple of tidbits that I wanted to get your reaction to. First of all, did you hear about the notable pop star that almost wrestled at last year's SummerSlam?
No.
Well, it all came from the blog of former WWE creative team member Kevin Eck, who he revealed that a certain pop star showed an interest in wrestling at SummerSlam 2014.
Please don't say Justin Bieber.
This individual was planned to team with John Cena and The Big Show to face the Wyatt family in a 6-man tag team match.
Who was it?
Well, you said for me not to say his name, so that's why I went with this individual.
Ah, really? The Biebs? Oh, come on.
Yes, Justin Bieber had expressed interest in wrestling. So there we go. WrestleMania 37, Justin Bieber versus Twitch. I can see it now.
Oh, I would break. That's the only...
No. Don't go into business for yourself on that.
That would be the only person in this business I would ever bury, would be Justin Bieber. I would completely squash match right off the bat.
Wow, you'd go Warrior Triple H from Mania 12?
Just no-sell every movie.
Yeah, there you go. And
I would not put Bieber over whatsoever. That's probably
you would not make him look really strong?
No, I would have.
Oh, boy, hey. You'd have messed him up. Got it. All right. Now, have you seen the new McDonald's live-action Hamburglar?
No, I have not. Why?
Well, you should definitely check it out. In fact, there's a picture which I'll put up on the Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page, probably right at the end of the show here. But it is a hysterical. It's actually a picture of a tweet by, of all people, Cesaro, who looks the Hamburglar basically looks like Cesaro in a Repo Man type mask. Yeah, exactly. So he puts out a tweet
that's the first time I ever attempted that last.
and it worked fairly well. Yeah. He puts out a tweet just to clarify, I am not the new at McDonald's Hamburglar #fact. And McDonald's, to their credit, actually responded. And they said to WWE Cesaro, but if he starts grabbing more of our burgers, we might need you to neutralize him.
McDonald's.
So somebody operating McDonald's Twitter is obviously a wrestling fan.
Or he could have just had a computer by him.
Possibly. I mean, but usually somebody who operates a major Twitter account of that nature, if they have an inside kind of joke like that, you know that they've got to have some of their own personal fanaticism thrown in. That it's not just somebody towing it's not just some stiff in a suit towing a corporate line. True.
They probably have some young stud that knows how to work the internet and newfangled electrical appliances. That's
Are you applying for a job?
That's what my creative writing teacher calls our cell phone. She says, "Okay, put your electrical appliances away." So I always go, and it's facepalm worthy. I always go, all right, I'm just going to take my toaster and put it in my backpack. It's
toaster?
a card moment, but because she calls our phones electrical appliances.
I know. I mean, I see where it's going. I just. I don't know.
Awkward. Anyway, let's get back to talking about Kevin Kelly.
Yeah. Actually, speak of Kevin Kelly, and because I've got you on the line to do this, I should mention, I'll get it out of the way early since you're here on the line. Your favorite segment.
Birthdays!
I was going to rack it until you threw the Zoidberg in there. Doggone it. On this date in 1967, Kevin Foote was born. The former WWF announcer and commentator and current Ring of Honor announcer known as Kevin Kelly turns 48 today.
Well, happy birthday.
How about that? Kelly. Happy birthday, Mr. Kelly. Also, on a less light note, from 1957, Mike Shaw was born. The former WCW and WWF star previously known as Norman the Lunatic, Friar Ferguson, and Bastion Booger, passed away in 2010 at the age of 53.
That is quite a sad moment when a wrestler dies.
I know. It's sometimes it's like pulling teeth when you have to find birthdays. Yeah. All right, and you got your ones. Quit trying to get your you-know-what in.
My dump in.
Oh.
That's the joke, because we had to use the dump button once.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you're right.
You must be thinking of some other show. So, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, speaking of thinking of other things, I don't know what WWE's thinking here. Did you hear that they're planning on an Owen Hart DVD?
I think that's wonderful.
Well, not everybody necessarily agrees. According to WrestlingDVDnews.com, WWE is planning an Owen Hart DVD release, but without the backing of Owen's widow, Martha Hart, and her family. The initial report on Thursday...
obviously she's going to be very embittered about it. She doesn't want anything to do with Owen mentioned on WWE television.
Pretty much. That's the short version of her statement. Because the initial report said that she and her children supported the DVD project, but she issued a statement to WrestlingDVDnews.com stating the contrary. The statement reads, quote, "My children and I were unaware of this project until May 7th, when it was brought to our attention by a friend who had read about it online. Contrary to your report, we do not back or support it in any way, nor has WWE requested our backing or support. From what little we know of the project, it seems to be another attempt to exploit Owen's memory and his tragic death for commercial gain. We have resisted that kind of initiative for almost 16 years. If WWE really wanted to honor Owen's legacy, it would just let him rest in peace.
So basically, just pull Benoit and not mention him ever again.
Well, not so much that. I think it's more, don't necessarily highlight him, but don't hide him either. Just whatever part of history he was, let that be there, but don't sensationalize anything else having to do with his career. His career was what it was. If people want to go back and see, Owen Hart as, the Blue Blazer on WrestleMania 5 taking on Mr. Perfect, they can pull that up on the network. If they want to see his steel cage match against Bret Hart from SummerSlam 94, go to that part of the network. Boom, it's right there. But as far as, chronicling his career and having a bunch of people talk about how awesome he is and all the ribs that he pulled and whatnot, she doesn't want any part of it, especially if it's going to be making a DVD that's going to make WWE money. Yeah, so
I don't really know where to stand on that, and I don't want to sound like devil's advocate, but it's like, yes, it's going to make WWE money. I'm sure the fans would want to see like Owen in the Hall of Fame, and she probably would. She would definitely never back something like that. That's unfair to. But at the same time, you have to respect her wishes because it was her husband. She doesn't want him to be exploited. It's just a very touchy subject.
Yeah, plus I don't know what there was with the settlement that they had from the wrongful death. I don't know if there was a discussion with that. So there's a lot of questions, to say the least. Anyway, I hate to do it, Lucas, but I've got my second time out I got to take, and I know you've got some family business you've got to attend to. So thanks so much for chiming in, since I know you couldn't be here in studio, and thanks for a roller coaster of a weekend last weekend, to say the least.
Yeah. It was definitely a pleasure to be on the show today. It's definitely a pleasure to have you with me for the Monster Factory camp. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to go somewhere, but it's probably better that I don't. Yeah, so enjoy. I'll catch up with you at some point. And, yeah, I got nothing else,
right.
Which is usual for me. What can I say? All right, we'll get to Ed from Northeast Philly on the other side, as well as a little bit more news and notes. What a hectic show this has been. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, May 9. On this date in 1999, WCW held its Slamboree pay-per-view. In the main event, Kevin Nash pinned Diamond Dallas Page to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2005, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. In the featured match, Edge defeated Shawn Michaels in the semifinals of a Gold Rush tournament. On this date in 2013, TNA Impact aired live from Tupelo, Mississippi. In the main event, Abyss, Kurt Angle, and Sting defeated Bully Ray, Devon, and Mr. Anderson in a 6-man tag team match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, May 9.
You are listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Dairy.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Dairy here with you. Going right to the phones, and a very patient Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, what's going on?
Good afternoon. We got Chiquera coming to Northeast Philly at their new home on 4700 Wingate Street in Northeast Philly.
Oh, nice. It's been a while since they've been in the area.
I think it's a new training facility.
Ah, okay.
And we got JCW at Six Flags Great Adventure on June 13th. Awesome Kong, the Sandman, McFoley, Tommy Dreamer.
A lot of the Jersey, Philly, New York, tri-state staples, yes.
Yeah, that's Jackson, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, in Jackson there at Six Flags Great Adventure, of course.
And CCW's doubleheader tonight in Voorhees.
Oh, very nice. They always throw together some good cards.
And lots of WWE coming to the area.
Well, I was going to say they're pretty much in the area this weekend, courtesy of Comic-Con that's been going on. Day 3 of the 4-day Wizard World Comic-Con in Philadelphia. Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler were there over the course of Thursday and yesterday. Sting is there today, and WWE Diva Paige will be there tomorrow. To see if I can head over to that since I have a chat with her in person since Lucas and I got to interview her a couple months ago.
That's about it.
All righty, Ed. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate the look at the local scene as always. So yes, as I mentioned, Sting is at Comic-Con today. Paige will be there tomorrow. That's all going down at the Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philadelphia. Some other things to let you know about. George's Cards and Collectibles, they bring you the legends, including this Friday, May 15th from 6 to 8 p.m., Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He'll appear for autographs and photos at George's Neshaminy Mall location. And also Saturday, June 13th from 2 to 4 p.m., the longest reigning Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man, will be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall. Don't forget to check out George's 3 locations for all... You all right over there, Nicotaldi? Let's get this one up. There we go.
Intercontinental Championship always made me laugh. It just did.
Just the name of it, or
yeah, exactly. It was no.
That was back then when it was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion.
But the other one that made me laugh was, I think it was the old AWA or AW whatever it was, and NW was the TV champ.
The television championship. Yep.
But the Intercontinental Championship, I think it was. Years ago, I think it was the Magnificent Morocco held it.
Don Morocco held it for a bit in the early 80s, yeah.
And he would talk about it like it was a big deal. And myself, why these people do not want to be the regular, the overall champion? They settle for this second best thing, which, I understood the nature of what was going on, actually. Just kidding.
I was going to say, at the time, who was beating Bob Backlund at that point?
Well, right. I'm just having fun. But I always thought that sounded funny to me for some reason. Intercontinental.
Yeah, no, that was always a great, a great line. The feuds with Honky Tonk Man, Savage, Steamboat around that time.
Who denied the existence of Elvis Presley? I got a kick out of that.
I love the story, and I think it was shared over the Monster Factory weekend last weekend of how the Honky Tonk Man ended up winning the Intercontinental Championship. He wasn't supposed to wrestle in that match. I think it was actually the Natural Butch Reed.
I remember him. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was supposed to win that night.
Black guy. Yeah. They're all natural. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I had blonde hair at one point,
but it wasn't natural.
No, although I was gonna say it's quickly changing over to white for a number of different.
That might be natural, but no.
That's unfortunately very natural. Oh goodness. But yeah, no, the Natural Butch Reed was supposed to wrestle and win the Intercontinental Championship, but he no-showed the event.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I guess he didn't know. Yeah.
What a ding-dong. I did not know this. And I was watching
so they
a lot more. How about that?
They just, I guess, kind of looked down the hall and looked for. Yeah, it was like, let's, because I guess the first person they had a plan for, he didn't do it, or he wasn't there, and then.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I guess they just had to go down.
Whatever happened to him? Did he get fired for this?
Well, he ended up leaving not too long after.
He must have been upset about something else, I guess.
Yeah, it was the Superstars wrestling taping in June of '87. He was supposed to beat Ricky Steamboat for it because that was when Ricky was going to take time off after the birth of his son, and they had to get the belt off him after beating Savage at WrestleMania 3.
Well, I better let you get back to your business here.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting into a story.
No, it's my fault, actually, but go ahead.
No, that's... now I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's right. George's Cards and Collectibles, of course. Check out their 3 locations for all your sports and wrestling memorabilia needs. They're including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Fairless Hills. on the lower level of the Oxford Valley Mall next to the Sears Court, and in the Chamonix Mall at the AMC Theater Wing. For more info on the upcoming Jim Neidhart and Honky Tonk Man signings, you can give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or go to georgescollectibles.com. Also, there's a reason they say don't try this at home. A Pennsylvania man said he was mimicking a professional wrestling move when he inadvertently slammed his girlfriend's 18-month-old toddler to the floor, causing head injuries that killed the child. Oh. Yeah, 20-year-old Brandon Hoffman was performing The Undertaker's Last Ride powerbomb on 18-month-old Bryson Shoemaker and intended to throw Bryson on the bed. However, the boy hit the floor. Hoffman began performing CPR and took the boy to the hospital instead of calling 911 because he was worried about getting in trouble. Dumbass. Hoffman was charged Wednesday with involuntary manslaughter, endangering the welfare of a child, aggravated assault, and other offenses, and is behind bars with bail set at $150,000.
There should be more.
That's why they say don't try this at home. I mean, if you want to give it a try, give Danny Cage a call at the Monster Factory. It all comes full circle. That's going to do it for me. Nick Cataldi's up next. I'll be back next week. Maybe we'll have Lucas. Who knows? And we'll preview and give our predictions certain to go wrong for the Payback pay-per-view. Thanks for listening. This has been Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB.